Hey guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use parenting properly and various different methods that are used for various different things, and how to properly do it and how to not do it, and some pointers and practical application. So first off, when you parent, you should always do it to a wire chip. It is GMod black magic for some reason that when you parent to a wire gate, it lets you alter the props still because they retain their physics hull. What happens when you parent to a chip, the physics hull of the prop just drops to the ground and enters a state called sleeping, which means, like it says, it sleeps, nothing interacts with it, it doesn't lag at all. But normal parenting, when you parent to a prop, it deletes that physics hull, and you can no longer run something called a trace, which a trace is a line from your tool to the prop. So since that hull doesn't exist anymore, you can't remove the prop or color it, weight it, whatever, unless you can see the prop through the prop you parented it to. So if I parented that barrel right here to this, I can only remove that barrel if I look at it through this kettle. If I try it over here, it won't work. So yeah, just try to stick to wire gate parenting. The only time you should really need to normal parent is if you don't want to use a gate and aren't really going to edit the props. Like if you're parenting a hubcap to a wheel or something like that, so you wouldn't use a gate for that kind of thing because it would just add another physical entity. Right, so parenting. I'm not going to go over the tool I'm using to do this because you might be using a different parenting tool. The one I'm using is the one that's on the workshop by Tweak. It has various interesting functions that are useful, but I'm not going to go over those. The basic concept for parenting, no matter what the tool, is the same. You use a tool to select the props, and then whatever action it is to complete it, in this tool's case you right click, and then it is parented. Most tools, they will apply a no collide from the prop to the chip so that, advanced duplicator will pick it up. If it doesn't apply no collide, you'll have to area select, which I'll go over in another tutorial how to use advanced duplicator. So now that's parented. These props, they won't lag at all. Their physics doesn't exist, but things will still interact with them, like G-Combat or Armor Combat Framework. When they're shot, they'll react, and you can color them, material them, whatever. Like I said, with normal parenting, when you do that, unless you're really looking at the prop through the kettle, you can't really remove them. Better than removed, I guess, because the trace worked. But yeah, to remove them, in this case, I'll have to look at the kettle and look back here, and then it removed. Apparently, I removed the prop. Yeah, don't normal parent. That's bad. So, unparenting. There's tools to do it. The unparenter. If your server doesn't have the unparenter, my method is you take advanced dupe, you copy it, and then you go to these boxes, you untick paste with constraints and paste with parenting, and then you remove the chip that the props are parented to that you want to unparent, and then you go back to advanced dupe and you tick paste at original location with those two tick boxes unticked, and now they are unparented. A bit of warning when you use an unparenting tool. This is why I do it by advanced duplicator all the time. If you move a prop after it's been unparented, there's a good chance the server will crash. It has happened many times, sometimes it doesn't, but that's why I don't use the unparenter very often. So yeah, that covers parenting. The other thing I want to show is Weld parenting. This is useful because when a prop moves on a server, it has to send data through the network to you, and when you move things, it sends data back to the server regarding the prop's position. When you weld parent, the physics hull is welded still, so it'll act like a welded prop, like these props are welded right here. See, they're dangling. That's pretty annoying. You can kind of band-aid that sagging problem by weld parenting. The biggest advantage behind weld parenting is since you don't see the model moving around, the server does not send positional data to you, which means it doesn't use a network, and in Gary's mod, the biggest bottleneck, I should say, of a server is network, not the CPU or whatever. So those dangling props, if you have a lot of them, they'll lag a server. So if we go ahead and freeze these, I'm lagging a bit because I'm uploading another video. And since they're all welded to this prop here, I believe the chip is welded to this. I'll just make sure. And then we'll select all the barrels with our parenting tool and parent them. And now it's parented. You see, they don't move. However, since the physics hulls are still welded and bound, they are actually sagging. You won't see it though. And but yeah, it is no longer sending positional data through the network to me, which means the bandwidth being put to me is less, which in turn means more bandwidth for the server to use, which means it lags less. This is really useful for vehicles, like especially tanks. If you want a tank to have physical mass to it in case recoil knocks it over or something, you can weld parent the side armor or whatever armor on it, which is usually heavy as hell, and you will have physical mass, but it won't sag around. It'll look perfect. It's also very useful for propellers. If you have something powered by physical propellers, they tend to move away from the center, whereas rotating looks pretty gay, but you can parent it and it fixes that. But the physics hull does actually move away, stress or whatever. So now I'll show you a practical application. Right here I have a bike. It's a lot of props, I'm not going to parent them all. But this chip here is useful. Usually this chip would be placed in the vehicle somewhere. And then we'll just take the parenting tool. I'll just parent a couple props. The gas tank. Yeah, whatever. And then parenting. Usually you'd parent the whole thing, and then this would be welded to whatever your base prop is or whatever. But the fun thing is, if you use this prop here, and I'll go over another tutorial how to use fading door, but if something's in the way and you need to get to something inside the prop, you go to your easy precision tool, which if you don't know how to use it, I'll go over it in another tutorial. But all you do is set the push-pull amount to like 500 or so, and then you look at the top of the prop and you press R, and it moves it, and it also moved your stuff out of the way. So now you're free to grab whatever in there, like if you have wire stuff in there or you need to get to something in there. Which is pretty useful because fading door are constraints, and it can lag. It won't lag really, it just add more constraints, and it's annoying. So yeah, I think that covers everything for parenting. Just be careful what you parent. You don't parent things that have other constraints, except for welds. That's a bit more advanced. But don't ever advance ball socket anything to a parented prop. If it's weld parented or not, it can break the server's physics. Don't ask how, I don't know why. It's just a no-no. So if you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the video, and I'll get back to you. Thanks a lot.